Hello everyone, good evening. This is Dr. Tirlochan Kaur Sandhu, Assistant Professor in English from Government VYT PG Autonomous College, Durg. This video lecture has been prepared for the students of MA English Semester 4 for the colleges which come under the jurisdiction of Hemchand Yadav University. The topic which I am dealing with is from paper 4, Colonial and Post-Colonial Studies, Unit 3, Alice Walker's The Color Purple. In this lecture, I will be dealing initially with a brief introduction of the author, some of the major events, formative influences in the becoming of the author, the poet, and thereafter I will be dealing with her feminist or womanist concept and critically analyze her story, The Color Purple. So let's begin with the introduction. Alice Milsenia Walker was born on 9th February 1944 in Eatonton, Georgia. She was the last and 8th child of Willie Lee and Minnie Tallulah Lou Grant Walker. At the age of 4, she was sent to school, and it is told that she was a very self-confident and outgoing child. She loved exploring people. She loved exploring the world around her. She loved reciting poems in the church and something of a whiz. But at the age of 8, she got accidentally injured and blinded in the right eye while playing a game with her elder brothers, cowboys and Indians. And this was a turning point. Alice turned to prayers and started reading voraciously to cope up with her trauma and loneliness. At the age of 14, she started writing poetry, and she realized that there was a world in her eye. She got graduated from Sarah Lawrence College in 1965, and at the same time she got inspired by the protest movements and speeches of Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. and participated in the fight for civil rights and welfare rights movements. It was during these protest movements that she met a civil rights attorney, a white Jewish, Melvin Rosalind Leventhal, and she fell in love with him and they got married in 1967. And though the marriage could not sustain for a long time, and they got divorced with a mutual consent after 9 years, that is in 1976. Walker wrote The Color Purple in 1982 and won the notable awards, the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction and National Book Award in 1983. It was later adapted into a musical and a film of the same name. The Color Purple was one of the most recognized books which dealt with the plight of black women living in America. An awakening that one is oppressed not because one is ignorant, not because one is lazy, not because one is stupid, but just because one is black and female, creates a feeling of black feminist consciousness. Unlike Gloria Naylor and her predecessors, Alice Walker claims to be a feminist, and she is one of the committed writers among Afrocentric or Afro-American women black writers, and proved her stance as a poet, as a novelist, as a short story writer, as a critic, as an essayist, and above all, an apologist for black women. The decade of the 70s represented renaissance in black women's writing after realizing that their issues were not properly addressed. The writers felt committed to struggle against racial, sexual, heterosexual and class oppression very much prevalent in the black community. The issues mostly addressed included gender, sexism, black womanhood, black female identity, mother-daughter relationships, sisterhood, domestic violence, family, community and culture. As Walker states in her prose work, In Search of Our Mother's Gardens, which she published in 1983, the women writers have enabled black women, especially those most marginalized by race, caste and class, to have their voices heard and their histories, rather better to say, her stories read. She says that black women had to battle on many fronts against white patriarchy, against white women's racism, and against the sexism of black men. The black feminists represented their Afrocentric point of view as opposed to Eurocentric, that is, by retrieving their rich African American traditions, including their heritage, values, culture, and language of black communities. Their works mostly represent their folk songs, their dialects, music, stories, dance, cuisine, and the art of quilting, baking, and gardening, which provided substance to their writings. She defines feminism and she uses the term to refer to African American feminism or feminism of the women of color. She explains that it is a folk expression which is more organic, that comes out of the culture, that really expresses the spirit that we see in black women. Also, a woman who loves other women, sexually and or non-sexually. A woman who is committed to survival and wholeness of entire people, male and female. She makes it more clear by explaining feminism that it is an empowered form of feminism, just as purple is a bold and empowered version of lavender. Walker says that she is preoccupied with the souls of black women, and she declares that she is committed to explore the oppressions, the insanities, the loyalties and the triumphs of black women. Moreover, she is seriously concerned with the damage to this planet, to this earth, and that's why she is also called an eco-feminist. She sees into the life of things, and with her keener sensibility, her works have a single dimension, yet they also postulate universality. Now, let us deal with the work, The Color Purple. Some of the major themes are patriarchal, racial, sexual and colonial exploitation, and that is the stages of suffering and victimization through which the leading character Celie goes through. Another theme is female bonding. That also is called sisterhood, or the theme of sisterhood, which helps the characters to regenerate and transcend and transform. Another theme is quest for self-assertion, and that's possible, as according to Walker, through feministic perspectives, that is liberation of one's self. This can also be related to quest for self-identity, self-actualization. It's a journey which Seeley takes from a downtrodden, victimized character to a self-confident, independent character. Now let us have a look at the form and style of the novel. The form of the novel is epistolary form. Seeley writes letters to God and later to Nettie. Nettie also writes letters to Seeley. And Walker has reinvented the 18th century genre by appropriating a form invented and traditionally controlled by men. Walker has used this medium for Seeley to narrate her point of view as she looks at the world, or as through Nettie's letters, as world looks at them. And now I'll deal with certain characters. The major characters are Seeley, a 14-year-old girl; Pa, a stepfather, Alfonso; Nettie, Seeley's younger sister; Mr. called Albert, Seeley's husband and Shug's lover; and one of the most important, significant character is Shug Avery, the blues singer. A very confident, independent and financially strong woman, mistress of Albert, later on becomes friend to Seeley and helps her in her transformation. Another very important character in the novel is Sophia, an Amazon figure. Sophia is wife to Harpo. Harpo is son of Albert, a widower whom Seeley marries. Then we have another characters who play a very significant role in forming a kind of bonding, where we can say the theme of sisterhood is applied and transformation becomes possible. That is Squeak, who is again a blues singer. Mary Agnes is her name, and because of her Tenouncy voice, she is called Squeak. Sisters of Albert, who in between the events as they take place come to see Seeley and they tell her to fight. Then there is Tashi, Olivia, Adam, who again play a major role in the story. Now let us have a look at the story. The Color Purple chronicles the life of a black girl called Seeley, who despite poverty, near illiteracy, physical and mental exploitation, transcends her plight through self-awareness and attempts to scale subtle and warm dimensions of feminist consciousness. Walker tells Celie's story in the form of letters, as I told you, epistolary form. First, Celie writes to God and later to her sister Nettie. As a teenager, Celie is repeatedly raped and beaten by her stepfather. The father appears to be virile, tough and strong man. His insults and his brutal attacks make Celie helpless. It is in isolation and despair that she addresses to God. She is forced into a loveless marriage soon after when she is of no use. Albert, a widower of 4 children, is in love with the vivacious, independent, determined singer Shug Avery. Celie, a poor, barely literate southern black woman, struggles to escape the brutality and degeneration of her treatment by her father and other men. She initially addresses to God, "Dear God, I am 14 years old. I have always been a good girl. Let me tell you, I am," she says, and then she strikes it off and then writes, "I have always been a good girl. Maybe you can give me a sign letting me know what is happening to me." The horrifying account of Celie's sexual abuse is presented on the very first page of the novel, which interprets Celie's trauma, the warning or rather a threat from her stepfather that silences her, thereby depriving her right to even speak of herself with anybody. Defenseless and threatened, Celie cannot share her suffering with anyone except God. Her communication with God through her letters confirms her existence. It is through her letters to God that she asserts that she is still alive. Celie is not allowed to share her sorrow with anyone except God. And she gets a threat. "You better not, never tell nobody but God. It would kill your mammy." So Celie mentions all her thoughts, her fears, her impressions of others, even her aspirations in simple broken language. Her language in her letters express her emotional victimization by a racist and sexist system. At the same time, they also reflect her growth, her blossoming as an intelligent and strong-willed woman despite the oppression. Celie, who has been raped repeatedly and twice impregnated by her stepfather, whom she thought she was her real father, her children stolen away from her, and Celie feels that they are dead. She suffers from an overpowering sense of incest. She feels ashamed to tell her mother what has happened to her, and she thinks, the mother thinks that Celie deserves it. Celie starts hating herself and her body, which is a constant source of her exploitation. Celie is forced to make believe that she is ugly and good for nothing by her stepfather, whom she calls Pa. He presents a bad image of Celie to Mr. Albert when he comes to ask for Nettie's hand. Celie's state gets more deplorable when she is handed over to Mr. Albert with these humiliating words. "Celie, she is too old to be living here at home, and she a bad influence on my other girls. And another thing, she tells lies." Mr. Albert, whom Celie calls Mr., is a widower who takes Celie to work and take care of his stepchildren. Celie doesn't know how to fight, but she knows how to work. When Albert's 2 sisters, Carrie and Kate come to his home. They find Celie a good housekeeper, an excellent cook, and a kind-hearted woman. Kate advises Celie to fight for herself, but Celie questions the validity of fighting. She suffers not only at the hands of her children, but also as a wife she means to be submissive, to be subordinate, to be obedient, and to be a punch bag for the man. Albert beats Celie and whenever he likes. She says, he beat me like he beat the children. He says, Celie, get the belt. It all. I can do not to cry. I make myself good. I say to myself, Celie, you a tree. And that's how I come. I know trees fear man. No doubt, Celie's process of recuperation begins with the arrival of Shug Avery, Albert's mistress. In the community of Niti and Sophia, Celie's liberation begins. Walker insists on the possibility of black women's empowerment through a community of sisters. Sophia acts as a catalyst for Celie's transformation because it is from her that Celie learns the language of revolt and successful resistance. Shug teaches Celie to become psychologically and financially independent. She continues to appreciate Celie and mends her by making her love herself and her body. Shug teaches Celie to sew pants and wear them too. Walker suggests clearly that a woman should learn to respect the self before she demands respect from others. Finally, Celie asserts before Albert, I am poor, I am black, I may be ugly and can't cook, but I am here. Thus, Celie recognizes her life, achieves liberty, gathers meaningful things and the knowledge of relationship. Her journey leads her to survive as a whole, confident, self-awakened, asserted woman with her own entity. Her attitude towards religion also changes in the company of women, and that leads her towards spiritual progress. Thus we see that the color purple stands for indomitable spirit of the black women, which signifies freedom, and also their growth, celebration of their self, both personal and spiritual. It is a journey from downtrodden victimization to achieve selfhood. Hence we see Celie's evolution and acceptance of herself helps Albert's evaluation of his own life. As the book ends, Albert and Shug sit with Celie on Celie's front porch, rocking and fanning flies. Walker makes racism more palpable than any other author. She has shown Celie's redemption, transformation to a self-esteemed and self-reliant person. And the chief agency is the strength of the relationships between women, their friendships, their love, their shared oppression, etc. Thus, we can say the color purple stands as a sign of indomitable female spirit. Thank you.